everyone, it's Enjoy English School. I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Minnie.
And today, it's January 24th, and we have our day one of our two-day article titled, The History of Food Delivery.
耶，所以我们今天1月24呢，我们的专题特写要讲的是最近很夯的，应该说很夯很久了，食物外送的崛起。
All right, I want to say this again. Ready? The history of food delivery. Is that better?
里斯外送
So delivery just means it just means to send it to a different place. But here we're talking specifically about food delivery. For you young people out there, yeah, of course, Food Panda, Uber Eats, of course. For old people like me, the idea that any restaurant can take food to your house, there was something we all wanted, but it did not exist.
Huh?
Yes, that's right. In the 90s, in the 80s, 80年代, 90年代, 他没有不是念过90s, 80s. I'm talking about the Western 1980s. 这个不存在。
西洋的80、90年代，这个外送食物可以外送这件事不存在的。对我们来讲稀松平常，对那一边的那个人来讲不存在。
That's right. Grandpa here is telling you right now, when in the 80s you could get pizza and Chinese food. Everything else?No, not really.
对耶，美国影集80、90年代的，他们如果在家里吃，一定是那个白色的盒子，就是所谓的中式餐厅的，或者是 pizza 才可以外带，其他的不可能。
对，另外一个 No, it's impossible.
Wow.
The future is a wonderful place.
Wow.
Let's get ready to start our article for today.
The history of food delivery.Although dairy products and cured meat have been delivered and traded for thousands of years, it is believed that proper food delivery didn't begin until 1889. In 1889, King Umberto I and Queen Margherita, both from northern Italy, traveled south to Naples. Sick of the food cooked by court chefs, the Queen wanted to try something popular with the common people of southern Italy: pizza. Chef Raffaele Esposito, an excellent pizza maker, delivered 3 pizzas as requested. The Queen loved the one made with mozzarella cheese, basil, and tomatoes, which Esposito used to represent the colors of the Italian flag. Thus, the Margherita pizza was born.Meanwhile, in India, cities were getting crowded. For cultural and religious reasons, workers had difficulty cooking or finding suitable meals outside their homes. Therefore, delivery men called dabbawallas came to meet this demand. Dabbawala means one who carries a box.And they carried boxes of food by bicycle or railway train to sell to workers. Delivering food as a full-time job began with the dabbawallas. Over time, food delivery has come to be found everywhere. In America, delivery grew as cars became common. Chinese and pizza restaurants were some of the first to offer delivery services.which continued to increase throughout the late 20th century. Then, another invention came along and made delivery even more popular.
All right, I'm going to confess, I don't really like to use Uber Eats and Food Panda for food.
I also confess, I don't have any Uber Eats or Food Panda app on my phone.
We do at my house, but it's just because where we live in that's not really busy neighborhood. So sometimes it's hard to get stuff. 7-Eleven's are quite, 我很晚下班, and then 7-Eleven doesn't have it. So we'll order 7 bottles of soy milk, 豆浆, at one time. I'm not joking. So...it's hard to get at 7-Eleven, so we get Food Panda for 7 bottles of soy milk. And I think the driver is what does this crazy person want with so much soy milk?
所以老师说他不常用外送的那种 app， 如果真的要用的话，他也是一次订7瓶那个豆浆，然后到家里这样就很奇妙。然后我自己手机里面也都没有这些。
But it's convenient. I agree, it's very convenient. I just don't.
I don't use it because it 35块的 delivering fee 我觉得很贵。 然后呢，我觉得很不环保，因为所有的餐具。
That's right. I super agree with that. That is easily the thing we hate the most.
我们已经制造很多口罩垃圾了，不要再制造垃圾了，真的。
I agree. I 100% with you on that. All right, let's get into paragraph 1. Although dairy products and cured meat have been delivered and traded for thousands of years, it is believed that proper food delivery didn't begin until 1889.
This is a long sentence.
一个口气, that's pretty good.
Yeah, right. 虽然呢，乳制品 dairy 还有腌肉的运送和交易已经有好几千年之久的历史，但是真正的食物外送被认为是在1889年才开始出现的。
Okay, we got some vocab here. Number 1, although. Highlight although. And 我们要挑掉这个逗号 and write but 擦掉. In English, you say although 虽然还是你说 but 但是你不可以一起说 although but.
所以在这边有一个很重要，我们中文都会讲虽然你很美，但是我还是不爱你。但英文里面不可以 although 跟 but 同时在一起哦。although 就 although, but 就 but， 不能够两个同时写。记得这件事。
I hear that sentence a lot.
好。
All right, dairy means milk. Anything that uses milk is dairy. M-I-L-K, above dairy. 两个都是不可数. Dairy also here is the adjective. And then cured is the word for salt. S-A-L-T. Now, 怎么可以 salt and cure? Because cure is when you're sick, but now you feel better. 它们有什么关系? Well, think. What makes you sick? Germs. If you use a lot of salt on food to make like sausage or like dried meat, what happens to the germs in the meat?
Die.
They die. And when the germs die, you feel better. So cure just means salt.
OK, 所以刚刚老师讲了两个字，第一个字是 dairy 那个字，它就是任何跟乳制品、牛奶相关，像冰淇淋啊、yogurt 啊、牛奶啊都是。注意不要把它写成 diary。很像日记那个字不一样，要注意。再来 cured cured 这个字，老师说你要联想到 salt salt， 为什么呢？因为 cure 它其实是治疗治愈的意思嘛。如果今天肉放在那里不腌，它就会长细菌。可是如果我们加了盐巴，把它腌起来，然后再吃，你就没问题。
Now the word traded just means bought and sold. And that's in the same paragraph here. And then our next sentence we have, well, same sentence, next line, proper. When we use proper as the adjective, proper food, something or other, it means what we think is the correct way to do something. For example, a proper breakfast in America is eggs, toast, bacon sausage. Taiwanese, if you go to like a traditional, yeah, that's right, danbing, xiaolongbao, that's a proper breakfast for Taiwanese.
Yeah.
And it just means what you think is the standard.
所以 trade 在这边呢 trade 那个 trade 它是买卖交易的意思。那 proper 呢其实就是所谓的很合理的或很正常的，我们叫 proper。我们在这边其实它就有点当 real 的意思。
In 1889, King Umberto I and Queen Margherita, both from northern Italy, traveled south to Naples.
那在1889年，意大利国王啊，这个翁贝托一世跟玛格丽塔皇后两位都来自意大利的北方。那他们南下到这个那不勒斯旅游。
Okay, let's look at King Umberto, and it has like the letter I. That's not King Umberto I. That's the Roman number 1. And when we have this, like 你是第一个、第二个的话, we say the first, the second. 你不要写出来 the, you just say the.
所以在我会听到什么伊丽莎白女皇二世啊、一世、二世，他们会用罗马数字 I 跟 II 那个来表达，但是我们念的时候要记得念成序数，所以要说 the first.
All right, let's continue. Sick of the food cooked by court chefs, the queen wanted to try something popular with the common people of southern Italy, pizza.
那由于皇后对于宫廷里厨师煮的食物非常厌倦啊，吃腻了这样，所以她想要尝尝这种受到南意大利平民喜欢的食物，也就叫 pizza。
From the last sentence, 我忘记说. Well, let's look at the sentence above. Both means two, right?
对。
三个以上 we want to say all. Don't say all here. Be careful. Our next sentence here, where we're talking about sick of. You're just kind of, you don't want to do it anymore. You're sick of something.
那 sick of 后面可以加你吃腻的食物，你做腻的事情，你看腻的人。I'm sick of you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. 受不了, right?
受不了。
Next we have a court chef. So we have a court. That just means the castle or royal. When we say a court chef, that's the person who helps the king or queen. It's an adjective. And when we have like the pizza is a weird one because pizza is countable and uncountable. So pizza here, we have like the 概念. That's uncountable here. But we can also talk about 一整个 pizza. That's a pizza, the whole one right there.
在我们这边的 court chef 的 court 是宫廷的意思。那你有时候听到 court 的话，有可能是指说在法官、法庭也可以叫 court。然后老师这边有讲到 pizza 这个概念，如果你是切片的，它是不可数，所以你要说一片 pizza 要 a slice of pizza。可是如果你是讲整个完整的，你可以讲 one pizza, two pizzas 没有问题。
All right, and why is pizza uncountable? Remember, anything that can kind of 流动. Like cheese, right? That's going to be uncountable here. So think if you take a hot piece of pizza, you have the cheese here in the commercial. So ooey gooey here, that's uncountable.
好好吃哦。
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the cheese part.
They always show it like stretching out.
Yeah.
Our next sentence says, Chef Rafael Esposito. What a good name. Let's say this again. Chef Rafael Esposito, an excellent pizza maker, delivered 3 pizzas as requested.
那一名杰出的披萨师傅
，Rafael Esposito，
这中文翻译真的也很难念，什么艾斯波西多，于是他就应这个皇后的要求，送上3张披萨。
I'm going to tell everyone that's my name in the future. Hey everyone, it's Enjoy English School. I'm Rafael Esposito.
听起来很变态。
The queen loved the one made with mozzarella cheese, basil, and tomatoes, which Esposito used to represent the colors of the Italian flag.
所以女皇非常喜欢其中一个披萨，它是用了这个 mozzarella cheese， 然后还有罗勒叶，还有番茄制作而成的披萨。那这3种食材呢，你也可以看到它的颜色，就是代表意大利国旗的3种颜色。
Okay, let's look at our words here. So.The queen loved the one made with mozzarella cheese. You go one. I never teach my students how to use this because then they spell really lazily on their test. So
I know.
They learn they can 代替. They can kind of...
代名词.
How do we say 代替 in English?
Replace. 他问我英文。妈妈
Her English is good, and sometimes I say things... sometimes I forget things. So when we say one, it just means... right? 如果那个像一个我们讲有关的那个 noun， 你前面说一个的话，那它可以变成 one。为什么？ Because 它是一个 one 啦，对不对？如果你说 the， 那是特定的，只是这一台而已。You could say it. Okay?
Oh.
All right, so let's continue here. We have mozzarella cheese. Cheese 不可数，为什么？它会流动。And then basil. Basil 九层塔很好吃诶。
罗勒叶啦。
不是九层塔吗？
是啦，但是九层塔是比较台湾的品种。
哦，是吗？
对。
I didn't know that. Okay, that's also uncountable UCN because it can flow in the wind. And then we have tomatoes, J-way, E-S. 为什么？ Because this word ends in O, just like go, G-O-E-S. Do, D-O-E-S. Tomato, E-S. 小心 mosquito, 不一定要加 E-S. All right, let's continue.
很重要 ，mosquitoes 加 s 而已。
你可以 add es，
两
个都可以，两个都可以。
两个都可以。
可以这位 o 加 s 还是 G-O-E-S？
哇，那我要跟被我扣分的同学道歉。
Really? No, that's a really tricky one. That is, to be fair, it's very, very tricky.
好。
I mean, 它是不规则 right?
Yes.
So there you go. Our next sentence says, thus.The Margarita Pizza was born.
你真的很喜欢那个名字OK， 所以 thus 就是于是哦，于是因为前面讲的种种嘛，3个颜色，然后皇后很喜欢，所以这个 pizza 的名称就变成以皇后命名 Margarita Pizza， 就这样子诞生了。
Okay, we're taking way more time than we have, so let's go to break. It's Enjoy English School. We're talking about the history of food delivery. We're on pages 24 and 25. No, excuse me. We're on pages 50 and 51. Sorry, my math is poor. Let's continue. Meanwhile, in India, cities were getting crowded.
同一年，在印度城市里聚集越来越多的人。
Okay. Meanwhile just means at the same time. Write that down. But meanwhile, 感觉真是 it feels like a comic book. That's what you see in comic books. Meanwhile, we don't know in comic books they never say at the same time. They never say that.
所以在你在念那个叫什么漫画的时候，你不会看到 at the same time， 你会看到 meanwhile。
That's right.
篇幅的问题吧。
So we have we're getting crowded. Don't forget that get is a verb, but it does not use adverbs. It uses adjectives. And 它是你可以越来越多的事情. So you can't say something, I mean, like 很口语你会听一个1970年代一首歌叫 Get Happy. But that's not standard, 不标准. 因为你是快乐还是你是不快乐? You're happy or you're not. But think 你可以越来越什么? Hot. I'm getting hot. I'm getting old. 你没办法变得更年轻 so getting younger, 这个没有意思 right? So 这个是你越来越多的 getting plus adjective. 你开始变得怎么样?
所以 getting plus adjective 就有点像 becoming 加上 adjective.
Yeah, exactly.
意思是一样的，变得如何这样。
And getting crowded, 我们可以看越来越多人，就是会变得越来越拥挤 crowded.
Yeah, 所以有一些形容词放在后面要小心啊。
Let's continue for cultural and religious reasons. Workers had difficulty cooking or finding suitable meals outside their homes.
那基于文化跟宗教的因素，工人们在外面煮饭或者找到合适的一餐是有困难度的。
Yes, there's a lot of vegetarians in India, and there are these people called the Jains, who I think are really cool, Jains. But a problem with the Jains, I agree with a lot of their ideas, but they will not eat anything that grows in the earth. So no garlic, no carrots, no potatoes. Like I would die.
Oh.
Anything that grows in the earth, they won't eat.
Oh. 所以在印度有很多吃素的人，也有很多 Jains， 就是任何是土地上长在土地里的东西他都不吃的。哇，那他的食物选项很少哎。
对，他们也是吃素，但也那个地图里也不行。
对，更严格了。
Therefore, delivery men called dabawalas, I love this word, dabawalas came to meet this demand.
因此呢，被称为达巴瓦拉的外送员就开始满足这样的需求。
So therefore just means so, S-O, and delivery men called dabawala. Now, the W-A-L-A, I actually used to really like this band when I was in elementary school called Dishwalla. And I said, what is a dishwalla? I wanted to know. And I learned that a walla is a person that sells something. It means a seller. So they would sell dishes, and I was like, 盘子什么东西? No. They would sell satellite dishes. They would get 那个 Wi-Fi 的 They would help you get satellite for good TV.
哇，所以只要是 walla W-A-L-A walla 结尾都是商人的意思。
That's right. Just seller. You something a person that sells things.
Walla.
Dabawala.
Cool 哎。
Dabawala means one who carries a box. And they carried boxes of food by bicycle or railway train to sell to workers.
所以这个达巴瓦拉的意思其实就是一个携带盒子的人。那他们这个带着餐盒，骑着脚踏车，或者是搭火车去贩售给这些工人。
So you guys totally understand this. What do you call a taxi driver then?
Taxiwala.
That's exactly right. Taxiwala. I did not tell Minnie this. It's just taxiwala. So he's a taxi driver. Okay?
Wow.
This makes me think of like they take it to the train and sell it. It makes me think of like when you go to the East Coast and they're like bientong, the little kids that sell. I normally don't. I'm a vegetarian, so I can't eat the biendongs. But those little kids, they don't have any money. Like I just secretly give them 100 NT.
Really?
Yeah, I just give them 100 NT.
Oh my God.
The little kids, they don't have any. 100 NT for me, not a lot of money.
That's why so many adults, 很多大人都派小朋友去站在那里，就是有这种人。
Yeah, 没错, right? But I mean, they're poor, right? 小孩在这边还是小孩不在，他们还是穷的. So, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to give that little kid 100, but don't tell your mom. Delivering food as a full-time job began with the dabawalas.
所以外送食物就变成一个全职的工作，也就是从这个 dabawala 开始的哦。
All right, let's get ready for our next paragraph. All right, let's begin our final paragraph today on our article on the history of food delivery. Over time, food delivery has come to be found everywhere.
那 over time 随着时间推移，那食物外送渐渐的就出现在世界各地。
All right, this is a good phrase here. Underline has come to be found. When something has come to be found, it just means something that feels slowly happening. It didn't happen quickly, and 比较突然你明白你看这样子 in English we also could say you find yourself in a park like 你没有本来计划我就是在这边 like you're in a new city and you're walking 你没有大目标 and 你就是找到这个哇塞 This is a very beautiful place. When I came to Taiwan, I would just walk for hours and just, what can I find? And I would just find myself in some really interesting places. Some good and some bad, honestly. And so, come to be found just means it feels slow, and then just 突然原来事情 just happens.
所以 come to be found 这个 found 它是 find 的过去式嘛，所以老师有刚刚说 find 这个感觉就有点像是你漫无目的没有目的的走，可是你突然就找到了这个人间仙境，突然慢慢的没有就是意外的，你没有安排的，然后就突然发生什么事情，所以 come to be found 它就有这种渐渐出现慢慢累积的那种感觉。
Yeah, think when was the point everybody had like a smartphone? 不是 like the flip phones like your ama maybe uses, right? But suddenly almost everybody has a smartphone. I was like, well, of course, iPhone 出来 but 什么时候是 almost everyone has one? 你找不到那个时间，就是突然you're like, 对，我们现在都有了。
慢慢的就大家都有，慢慢就普及了这样。
In America, delivery grew as cars became common.
在美国，外送随着汽车的普及，然后也变得很多成长了。
Chinese and pizza restaurants were some of the first to offer delivery services, which continued to increase throughout the late 20th century.
那中国餐馆跟披萨餐馆是其中第一个提供外送服务的店家，所以外送服务就在20世纪末也开始慢慢增加。
Then another invention came along and made delivery even more popular.
讲故事讲到最后，所以他说 then 接着另外一个发明就出现了，就让外送的服务更流行了。
So what is that invention? We're not going to tell you. We want you to watch day 2.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This is called a cliffhanger.We have a big question, and you want to know the answer, but we won't tell you what happens. 你卡通那个漫画常常这样子。This is called a cliffhanger. One word, C-L-I-F-F-H-A-N-G-E-R.
Cliff 就是悬崖的意思，所以我们现在就把你挂在悬崖上面，你要看下一集，你才知道他什么东西发明出来了。
Do you know where cliffhangers came from?
No.
There was an author. His name was Charles Dickens.
狄更斯
That's right. And he used to write like newspaper stories too. Not just books, but also newspaper stories. And he famously ended one of his stories with a person holding onto a cliff. Does he fall? Does he die? Or does someone help him? And they made people wait. And people went crazy to get more of his newspapers and stories. He made a lot of money.
狄更斯厉害。
Yeah. So let's continue on to our vocab review. First word today is uncountable, dairy.
Dairy 就是我们的乳制品。
Number 2, we have to deliver.
Deliver 就是我们的递送的这个服务这个动词。
Number 3, this is a good one, sick of something or somebody.
Yeah, 代表你吃腻了什么，看腻了什么。
And next we have another verb to represent.
代表 represent.
Next we have a kind of a tricky adjective, religious.
Religious 也就是宗教的。
Number 6, to have difficulty. The preposition usually is with. To have difficulty with something.
那就是代表你对什么事情有困难，我们就会说 difficulty with.
Yeah, you don't have to say with, but we often do. Next, we have to demand. And in our story, we used it as a noun, a demand.
就代表需求，我们就会说 demand.
And lastly, number 8, an invention.
就是我们明天要继续讲的 invention， 它创造了什么的那个东西。
Oh, that's a good transition. That was
I
very
know.
good. All right, well, just like Minnie said, we got a cliffhanger, and we'll be back tomorrow with more of our story on the history of food delivery. I am Rafael Esposito.
I'm Minnie.
And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.